The rise of the internet has led to a massive rise in conspiracy theories over the years. Now, these theories have grown so large and utterly ridiculous that the nature of truth is at risk. And the problem with crazy or dangerous theories is that those who believe them don't know how to admit when they're wrong. But if we think about it, no one today wants to admit when they're wrong. Even people who don't necessarily believe in true conspiracy theories, like a flat earth or that the moon landing was fake. But we've created digital spaces and physical spaces where threatening our ideas becomes a threat on our person. And this is a dangerous philosophy to have. So, today, I'm going to talk about the philosophy and the psychology behind why people have a hard time admitting when they're wrong and why you should definitely get comfortable with being wrong. The Enlightenment gave us something revolutionary. It said that objective truth does exist and that reason can discover it, and the facts operate independently of what anyone wants to believe. Before the modern era, truth was whatever authority figures declared it to be. Kings said this, priests said that, and you had no choice but to believe it or face the consequences of not doing so. But the Enlightenment changed everything by saying that truth is discoverable through logic and evidence. 2 plus 2 equals 4, no matter who is doing the math. The Earth orbits the Sun, whether or not that threatens your worldview. This framework gave us the scientific method. It gave us the ability to build knowledge across generations. And it created a shared way of understanding the world that made productive disagreement actually possible. You could argue with somebody, present your evidence, use logic, and potentially change their mind. Or they could change yours. This worked because everyone agreed that there was actual truth out there to discover. You weren't arguing about whose feelings were more valid. You were simply trying to figure out what is real. And that was the goal. That was how civilization was supposed to progress. Then, 20th century philosophy came along and tore the whole thing down. Sigmund Freud wrote that the irrational forces in human nature are so strong that the rational forces have no chance against them. And think about what he's saying here. Your rational mind, the tool you use to evaluate evidence and think clearly, is basically powerless against your unconscious and emotional drives. When you think you're being logical and reasonable, you're actually just rationalizing. Your conscious thoughts are just a cover story for unconscious instincts that you don't even know you have. And this gives everyone an excuse that they're not necessarily being irrational, but just governed by forces beyond their conscious control. But that is an abdication of responsibility. You do have a rational faculty. You can choose whether to use it properly or to let your emotions run the show. Saying that your unconscious drives made you believe something is like saying the devil made you do it. And then Martin Heidegger made things even worse. He is a major 20th century philosopher and wrote that reason, which has been glorified for centuries, is actually the biggest obstacle to real thought. A philosophy professor just told everyone that reason itself is the enemy of genuine thinking. His alternative was to abandon logic completely. Instead, according to him, You should sink into the emotional state, dwell in your anxiety, explore your feelings of dread and boredom, and let your emotions guide you to authentic understanding instead of using logic. And the problem is pretty obvious. Once you throw out reason and logic, you have thrown out the tools that we have for telling truth from lies. All you have left are your feelings. And feelings are terrible guides to reality. You can feel very strongly that something is true. That feeling is real. And it's not to say that you're not genuinely experiencing it, but the feeling itself is not evidence. And it's not really even an argument, it's just a feeling. And then postmodernism came along and essentially finished the job. Postmodernism says there is no such thing as objective truth. There are no facts, but only interpretations of said facts. There is no objective reality, only social constructs. Truth is completely relative. Your truth, my truth, everybody gets their own truth. And this might sound open minded and tolerant until you realize what it actually means. If truth is relative, then any conspiracy theory becomes another interpretation, just another way at looking at things. There is no way to say one person is right and another is wrong because there's no objective standard anymore. You can't have real conversations without shared epistemology. And that's really just a fancy word for how we know what we know. You can't build knowledge without objective standards for truth. You literally cannot tell the difference between reality and delusion when everyone's personal truth is supposed to be equally valid. The whole system breaks down. Now, let's come back and connect this to the internet age and why conspiracy theories have exploded. The internet was supposed to democratize information. Everyone would have access to knowledge. We would all become more informed, more educated, and, in theory, more rational. Instead, we got algorithmic echo chambers that show people exactly what they want to see. And sometimes algorithms that are changing your view of the world. You believe something and you search for information about it. Google learns what you click on. YouTube learns what you watch. And Facebook learns what you engage with. The algorithms say, this person likes content that confirms what they already think. So let's show them more of that. You're not actively choosing to live in a bubble, but the bubble is forming around you automatically. And inside that bubble, everyone agrees with you. Every video, every article, even the comment sections reinforce that you're right. They literally did a study where different algorithms would put different comments at the top depending on that person's view of the video. The people outside your bubble start to seem increasingly crazy. And how can they not see what is so obvious to you? Meanwhile, they're in their own bubble, thinking the exact same thing. Same event, same available facts, but completely opposite interpretations. And neither side ever encounters a serious challenge to their beliefs because the algorithm protects them from it. And this connects directly to what modern philosophy has done. The internet gave us the technology to live in separate realities, but modern philosophy gave us the intellectual permission to do so. Because there are no facts, only interpretations. So, of course, your algorithm generated interpretation is just as valid as any other. Logic might contradict your deeply felt beliefs, but Heidegger said logic blocks authentic understanding anyway. The rationalization engine never stops. It has infinite fuel because the alternative, admitting that you are fundamentally wrong about something, feels like a psychological death. The smarter you are, the better you are at rationalizing. And high intelligence does not make you more likely to change your mind when you should. It just makes you better at generating sophisticated ways why you don't have to. Education does not protect you from bad thinking. It just makes your bad thinking more elaborate and harder to argue with. You're better at seeing flaws in other people's reasoning than your own, better at building cases for your position than at honestly evaluating cases against it. And if you've ever wondered why we as humans are so susceptible to thoughts like this and to specific ways of thinking, especially conspiracy theorists or just people who literally watch the news like every day. Well, first, they provide meaning. The world isn't just random chaos where bad things happen for no good reason. There's a pattern, a plan. Somebody is in control, and most of the time they're evil. And a lot of times, that is more tolerable than accepting that sometimes terrible things just happen randomly. Second, they provide purpose. You aren't just drifting through life waiting to one day leave. You are uncovering hidden truths and fighting against powerful forces of deception. You're protecting other people from being manipulated. You have an important role in a meaningful story. And third, they provide community. They say you are not alone. You belong to a group of people who see what others might not be able to see. You have this shared understanding with fellow truth seekers. Religious frameworks used to fulfill these needs, but in an increasingly secular age, conspiracy theories and hard right or hard left groups rush in to fill that vacuum. And most people never ask themselves any questions about their beliefs because the answer is too uncomfortable. So, why won't people admit they're wrong even when you show them clear evidence? Because the cost is more massive than you think it is. It's a psychological cost. If you're wrong about something important, what else might you be wrong about? And can you even trust your own judgment? Rationally, truth should matter more than comfort. But human beings are not rational calculators. We are rationalizing creatures who use our intelligence to protect the identities that we've built, not to protect the truth that exists. So, with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all next time.